was the premiere of Wicked for Good, and I'm not going to give a full lengthy review because it's based off the Broadway show, I believe. And if you've seen the Broadway show, you kind of know already how this story plays out. But here's just my reaction out of the movie. Nobody, and I mean nobody, could have played Glinda and Alphaba better than Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Nobody. Jeff Goldblum continues to be one of the more funnier standouts in this film, and will always be one of the reasons why I go see Wicked multiple times if I have to. So that said, Wicked for Good is definitely, based on what I saw in the movie-wise adaptation version, it's darker, it's stronger. The music, while I don't think Wicked for Good has a song that they could use to market the film like they did for Wicked Part 1, but if you love the songs from the Broadway show, this is a no doubt of a film for you to see. Like, you should definitely see this movie, especially if you love the music. And there's one song that's still playing in my head that I have to admit my feet were tap dancing to. So the pros were the music, the score, the set design, the environment, the characters, and obviously, of course, the classic story of Wizard of Oz. You have the way we see those characters formed and the reason for their formation, if that makes sense, is it really starts to make sense, and it's really fascinating to see who becomes what, and just seeing the costume design and everyone is really just amazing. Every movie has pros and cons. Now, with that said, here are, to me, some of the cons in Wicked for Good. So for one, a very specific detail is, as far as directing goes, the camera tends to stop at a certain frame for much longer than it should be. So you're staring at either a face or an environment or a certain thing for far too long than you probably should be staring at that thing, if that makes sense. Like, the camera stays at that certain frame for just too long, and that's why I think this movie feels longer than it should be. At the end, they really do a great job at milking the ending to give it the best ending it possibly should have, if that makes sense also. Like, the best ending it should possibly have. There we go. Because there's 5 different scenes that, to me, don't feel like they're even necessary. Like, this movie could have ended 2-3 scenes earlier than it did. To me, I've not seen the Broadway show, so I'm saying I have seen there was plot twists, there was jaw-dropping moments, emotional moments, of course, exciting moments, even slightly cringe moments. And there's a moment between Ariana Grande or Glinda and Alphaba that they try to steer something up, but it just becomes a full-on cringe scene. But if you are a die-hard Wicked fan, you will appreciate every scene that you watch, but you still might cringe at some parts. Also, this Wicked for Part 2 does a good job at showing us how moments in Part 1 even came to be. Like, there are some moments where you could be looking at the screen and saying, oh, that's how that got there, or that's how this happened. Like, Wicked for Good does a good job at telling the story to show how moments in Part 1 came to be. And that's actually a pretty cool and smart thing that they did in this movie. You will leave this movie with multiple songs stuck in your head if you've not seen the Broadway show. I have the song, not a spoiler if you've seen the Broadway show, I have the song, it's also in the trailer, No Good Deed Goes Unpunished. That song replays in my head constantly after leaving this theater. The music is great, the soundtrack is great, the score is great, the set design is unbelievable, the CGI is actually not too bad for some of the animals. And I have to say, last critique is that the screen time between, it's in a trailer, between Dorothy, Tin Man, and sorry if I'm getting this wrong, Scarecrow, and there's one more, the Lion. The screen time for that little group, unfortunately, we don't get as much as we'd like. We get more screen time for one or two of the characters compared to the others. But again, if you saw the Broadway show, and if you loved that Broadway show Wicked, then clearly watch this movie. You will love this. I never saw the Broadway show, and I still came away from this theater actually actually enjoying musicals more than before, especially after seeing Wicked Part 1 and Part 2. So like this says here, you will be changed. That's definitely true. I've been changed by actually enjoying more musicals than I have in the past. Wicked for good. If it gets 5 stars, if it gets easily Rotten Tomatoes like a 95%, that would not shock me. This film deserves it. The dynamic and chemistry between Glinda and Alphaba and everyone in the cast in the movie is phenomenal. And just, go watch it this weekend. And that's all I can say, basically. If you're just a pure fan of Wicked, obviously go see it. If you've never seen a Broadway show, and if you don't like musicals, I still actually do, and trying to persuade you to watch it, only because of the music. It's just great. But yeah, if you love Wicked in general, go see this film this weekend.